Hey everyone, Valdestot's voice here, and on today's video I am going to be speaking on part 4 of the instructional series, My New Gig I Swore I Would Never Do. And so let's begin. So, on today's topic I'm going to be talking about my experience on Lyft. So, as you already know, in part 3 I talked about using Uber versus Uber Eats. Today I'm using Lyft. I did Lyft this time around to see if one was better than the other, because obviously in rideshare, Uber is the name that most people recognize, and Lyft is secondary, but Lyft is, giving Uber a good fight, at least in my area. And I still use my 2009 Honda Civic as the main vehicle, and the following spreadsheet that I'm going to be showing you later on in this presentation only shows less than 2 weeks. Yes, you got that right, less than 2 weeks of Lyft data. And in part 5, you're going to see the cumulative numbers over the total 3 weeks with insights on which is better and how the extra benefits each company offers compares to one another. Now, it is based off of my market, just an FYI and a disclaimer. Various markets will vary, but this is from my personal experience in my market. So, as you can see here, there are 3 weekly breakdowns. Remember, I did state I only did 2 weeks, and I show you that from August 22nd to 28th, I didn't do anything because I signed up during that week, and I wanted to start on literally the Monday of August 29th to September 4th. There's 2 pay breakdowns, weekly breakdowns on the September 5th to September 12th, as you can see. There is a reason for that, and I'll explain why later, okay? So, the reason is the 170 ride guarantee. It's not a bonus. Guarantees are different than bonuses. Bonuses, if you didn't know, only give you the money once you do a certain amount, and it's on top of what you already made. So let's say you all had a bonus for 10 rides and it'll give you 50 extra bucks if you complete those 10 rides. The amount of money that you made on those 10 rides has no bearing on the 50 extra dollars you would get by completing 10 rides. So if you made 50 bucks for those 10 rides, you get an additional $50 after you completed the 10th ride. With a guarantee, they stated that if I did 170 rides, I would get, as you can see in the second picture in this slide, guaranteed earnings of $2,000. So as you can see here, after doing 170 rides, my earnings from Lyft was only $1,144.84, but I was guaranteed $2,000. So they had to pay an additional $855.16, which is why there was a difference between the 2 slides from earlier. So if you look at it, my market kind of sucks. It really does, because I don't think Lyft really wanted to pay an extra $855 out of their own pocket. Part of the reasons are this area doesn't tip very well, and the pay for the pay card pay rates aren't very high in my area either. So yeah, and as you can see on the next slide next to that, I did 175 rides. I had a perfect 5.0 rating, and I did it in actually 12 days because I had a day off on Tuesday on my first week. So I did 170 rides in 12 days. I literally was busting tail. I mean, I really was. And as you can see on the next slide from before, I worked 41 hours during that week. Doesn't sound like a lot, but it is when you aren't used to driving all those miles compared to being a food delivery driver. You have to remember, if you're a food delivery driver, you have times to stop and take breaks if there are no offers. You can stretch your legs, you can do whatever, right? And until you get your next order. With Lyft, In my market, we don't have a lot of drivers. It was literally one right after the other, after the other, after the other. I kept getting continual requests while I was on an active trip. It was that busy. So I completed it in 12 days. And in the process, I made platinum status, which is the highest tier, in 12 days. Some people may think, oh, I can do that easily in my market. Well, if you have a market that has a lot of short rides, yeah, you could. But I'm going to show you the mileage that I had to drive in the next slide. Driving score is 95%, goals 80, points 450 out of 450 to get platinum status. And you do get rewards, which is coming up. And as you can see here, here are the Lyft rewards. Now, this is for platinum status, which I am currently at. There are just silver, gold, and platinum, right? They each have their own rewards. The silver is obviously the least of the rewards, least beneficial, less, money on cash back on gas. Gold gives you a little more, and of course platinum gives you the highest amount of the rewards. So as you can see here, get up to 32 cents per gallon cash back on gas, free Lyft Pink membership, enjoy streak bonus privileges, like from a certain time period, like 2:30 to 3:30. You complete 3 trips in that 1 hour, you get 9 extra bucks. You get, oh, this one's a big one. See trip info before accepting a ride. However, it's not as big as you think it is. When they say see trip info, that doesn't mean that you actually get to see full information such as pickup location, drop-off location, and pay, mileage, and all that. No. With Lyft at the platinum level, because you don't get that at the gold or silver levels. You only get it at the platinum level, at least in my market. And what that means is it tells you the direction from the pickup that it's going to go and the time, estimated time based off of their traffic or their estimation of how long it will take for you to complete that trip. There's a problem with that. The problem is it could say southwest 25 minutes. Okay, now 25 minutes could mean anything. It depends on the traffic. So it could be 5 miles away with bad traffic and it could take 25 minutes. Or if there's no traffic, it could take 25 minutes to go 25 miles. You could take the freeway, right? Technically, and drive 65 the whole way or 70 the whole way. So you may think it's at least some information, but in reality, if you are trying to look at it in terms of mileage and saving gas and expense purposes, it really doesn't help you. But if you don't care about mileage and you just care about the pay, which they still don't tell you, at least for now and in my market, it's meaningless. So sure, more information is better than not, but depending on how you look at it, it could be okay to have it or it may be worthless to you. So continuing on, get 2 additional destination filters, which that's nice because with Lyft, you can set, let's say you get a trip that takes you far away from where you started out at and you don't like that area. You can set that to come back to your area and you can and it'll just give you trip requests heading towards your area. Okay. At silver status, you get 1. At gold status, you get 2. And at platinum status, you get 2 more after that. So for a total of 4. So you can use that system 4 times to get you back to an area. There's also, if you want to end at a certain time, let's say you have to pick up your loved one or you have to get kids from school or at by a certain time, they also have another filter where you can actually choose to use end by time. So you always want to set it at least 30 to 45 minutes or however long it's going to take for you to get to where you need to go so that the last trip will end by that time. So that's awesome to have. You can learn a language for $2 a month, save on car services, save on TurboTax self-employed, and free Allstate roadside assistance, not discounted, but free, completely free, flat tire changes, battery jump starts, auto lockouts, and of course towing. So that is also great to have. I started off with 118,204 miles. Now that is where I left off with Uber. My ending miles at the end of the promotion period for the 170 trips to get those guaranteed $2,000 earnings was 120,091 miles. I worked for 73.2 hours. I drove 1,887 miles, and I had, of course, the 170 trips. The total pay that includes the bonus adjustment was $2,331.76. And if I were to take that bonus guarantee out, it would have only have been $1,476.60, but that's with tips included. So pay per hour was $31.85, $1.24 per mile, and $13.72 per pay per trip. Now that's with the bonus included. Without that bonus guarantee, it would have been $20.17 per hour, 78 cents per mile, which is terrible, and $8.69 per trip, which is also pretty bad based off of the miles driven. Okay, so all I can say is oh boy, the top two answers for pros and cons of Lyft in my market. Pros: it isn't food delivery. You can make more money than food delivery, but the cons: my God, the miles. You will see the gas used in part 5. And 2, Lyft does not show the drop-off location or pay either, just like Uber. Major cons. So, was this worth it? Is it worth doing rideshare? As I always say, it depends on your market. It is safer in my market, as I said before. In my opinion, did I like Lyft? It's fairer, but in reality, both Uber and Lyft have similar rules in my market. That doesn't allow a driver to make an informed business decision by withholding important information like actual pay, mileage, and drop-off location. Lyft does not, however, punish a driver for canceling an additional trip sent to you if you are in an active trip. So let's say you get another ride request while you're driving a rider to their drop-off location, right? As long as you're on an active trip and you look at that additional trip before you complete the active one where the rider you're dropping off to, you can scroll up. I use an Android system phone, by the way. So you just basically lift it up from bottom to top. It shows the information of where the pickup is going to be at for the next trip, and it gives you an option to cancel that if you don't want to go to that area with no penalty. That is the major bonus. It's huge as compared to Uber. Okay, Uber, when you get additional trips when you're on a trip, if you let it just time out, or you don't hit, or if you cancel using the X, you will get docked on your acceptance rate. Lyft does not do that, at least as long as you cancel it before completing the first active trip. So will I stick with it? Will I stick with Lyft? Will I stick with Uber? I'm going to give you a detailed analysis explaining if I will or won't, and it'll all be data driven. Is it going to be profitable? Are the expenses too high to just break even in my market? And the intangible factors like, will the riders, it depends on how well they tip, how well they behave in any given area, and the company's benefits like the gas savings and the free roadside assistance. Will both Uber and Lyft's benefits make a big difference? So that's pretty much it. So after I compile the data, and give you all of the information, I will make my decision on whether to continue doing Lyft and Uber. So just keep in mind everything I've said. I know this is well over 7 minutes on this particular video, but I had a lot to share. So take care, everyone, and have a good night. And if you have a chance, like, share, and subscribe. Appreciate it. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.